Dennis Brown with TKR Studio, and welcome to another 5-minute Photoshop lesson. In the previous lesson I showed you how to adjust the brightness and contrast of this capuchin monkey image, and in today's lesson I'm going to open the same image in Photoshop again, and we're going to make the brightness and contrast adjustments, but this time we're going to do it on a layer rather than on the original image itself. As always, when I open the image in Photoshop, I press the F key to go into full screen mode, which is just the way I prefer to work. And over on the lower right, you'll see a palette that's called Layers, the Layers palette. And I'm going to undock it and pull it away from the other palettes just to make it a little more prominent for this lesson. And here we go. You'll see that when you first open an image, you'll have this background layer. It's always called background initially. You can rename it if you wish. And we're going to make a duplicate of this background layer. And a couple of ways to do that. One way is drag it down to this new layer icon. And there you have it. A new layer has been created. And this layer is identical to the background. So we've really done nothing to change the image. We just have a new layer stacked on top of the old layer. Another way to make a new layer or a duplicate of a layer is to compress Control J or Command J on a Mac, and we just made another copy or duplicate of the layer. Now we've got three of the same picture essentially stacked one above the other, and you can think of the layers as a stack of images that you're looking at, where the top one in the Layers palette is the one that's closest to you. This one would be the one right behind it, and this one would be the one behind that. To illustrate that this top layer right now is hiding everything beneath it, I'm going to temporarily turn off the visibility by clicking on the eye icon. So now this top layer is invisible, and on that middle layer I'm going to just draw an X, and now we see it, but when I turn this top layer back on, that X goes away. That's because this top layer is completely opaque. It's completely hiding everything beneath it. Let's get rid of this middle layer. We don't need him anymore. I just drag him to the trash icon. Let's make that brightness and contrast adjustment that we made in the previous lesson, and we did it by going to the image menu and then adjustments and brightness and contrast. And as I mentioned, there are many ways to do brightness and contrast adjustments, and we'll be getting to those in future lessons. I'm going to make an exaggerated adjustment to illustrate another point about layers. You can see the brightness is too much and the contrast is too much, but I'll click OK. And layers have a parameter called opacity. That adjusts how opaque they are. At 100% opacity, they're completely opaque, meaning they're hiding everything below, and you're seeing their full effect. If you go down to 0 opacity, then that's the same as turning off the layer completely, the layer visibility. It's completely invisible. Fine-tune the adjustment, and I made this brightness and contrast adjustment exaggerated to illustrate the point. I'm going to lower the opacity. See, when I get down to about 50, it's looking pretty good. There was 100. 50 is not bad, and I might leave it. And you can do before, after, before, after. So it's something about 30 or 35% opacity. It's looking about right, and that's it. In the next lesson, we're going to look at another essential part of layers, which is layer masks. A lot of people are intimidated by layer masks, but you shouldn't be, and they're going to be a big part of our workflow from now on. So I think if you stay with these lessons, you'll learn to be very comfortable working with layers and layer masks. Before we go, I'll just quickly switch us over to Photoshop Elements. I've got the monkey picture already open in Elements, and you'll see this Layers palette in Elements, very similar to the one in Photoshop. And I'm going to press Control J to make a copy of the background layer. That would be Command J on a Mac. And we'll make the same adjustment we made last time under Enhance, Adjust Lighting, Brightness, Contrast. Again, we'll tweak it way up, and tweak up the contrast a lot. Click OK, and we've got that same opacity adjustment in Elements that we can use to turn down the effect. So again, layers is a very powerful tool, and we'll be looking at them a lot in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.